Joining us to discuss what he found, CNBC.com's tech editor, Steve Kovac. Steve, I know you and I both pored over these documents, and in a lot of cases, they said a lot more than the CEOs themselves.
Exactly. That whole hearing, a lot of bluster, both from the people on the subcommittee questioning the CEOs and a lot of the CEOs doing their best to delay and deny and deflect all those questions. But this document dump, and it's not even the full dump, by the way, there are still about a million other documents out there. But this document dump has it clearly in black and white how these companies were thinking as they went through acquisition processes, talked about other competitors. And it's far more revealing. And it's very clear that even though that hearing might not have been very revealing, we got a lot of the goods from these emails.
Now, they were certainly juicy, Steve, and they showed sort of the inner workings. You had an email from Bezos, but what sort of struck me was there was really no smoking gun per se. There was nothing that you could hang your hat on and say, okay, they did something untoward, at least initially. So what do you think actually comes out of this? Is there anything that lawmakers can point to in the documents to enact real change or real regulation?
Right. And that's kind of what the tech companies are saying. They're saying, well, we submitted a lot of these documents already when we went through these various mergers and acquisitions, and you guys approved it. And now you're trying to backtrack on us. That's crazy. But what it really does show is a pattern. We're going to see the subcommittee try to establish a pattern of this anti-competitive behavior and use that to go after the tech companies. Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos really stick out in particular to me. They have this join us or die mentality. There are emails between Zuckerberg and Instagram co-founder and then CEO Kevin Systrom. And Systrom sounded actually scared that Zuckerberg would go after Instagram unless he played along and joined Facebook. And same thing with on the other side with what Amazon and Jeff Bezos did to diapers.com about 10 years ago, lowering the prices of diapers on Amazon to squeeze out diapers.com. Then they buy diapers.com's parent company and ends up shutting it down 7 years later.
That's right. We spoke about that last week. That was the one I thought was particularly interesting, just in how, they basically admitted that they were going to undercut diapers.com. But the thing is that consumers aren't paying more prices now. Amazon does a pretty good job at keeping things cheap. But I do wonder if this will hurt their ability to do deals, get certain merchants onto their platform, especially ones that they need. We've seen some, big ones leave in recent years. So perhaps the implications are the way that it's able to do business, not necessarily what the lawmakers do to the companies.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that are specific to Amazon they're looking at is how do they play nice or not so nice with these third-party sellers? That's a very large percentage of the sales on Amazon overall. Are they snooping into that data to inform their own first-party products? Are they giving them the proper promotion over Amazon's first-party products or stuff sold directly from Amazon? That's what they're looking at. And again, we didn't hear too much of that out of Jeff Bezos's mouth, and we didn't hear about a lot of these topics straight from the CEO's mouth. But we have the emails, and we have the documentation there, plain in black and white.
Hey, Steve, as you know, that hearing was supposed to be about antitrust, but it sort of devolved into all kinds of different complaints. One of them was alleged bias on conservative content. And then last night, Twitter and Facebook, as we know by now, put a flag on that Trump campaign post about children being allegedly immune to the virus. Just highlights once again how fraught this is going to be going into these last 90 days of the election.
Yeah, and absolutely. And the thing that happened last night with that Trump tweet and Facebook post was particularly interesting. That's Twitter and Facebook kind of stepping in and playing the role of editor-in-chief of the internet. Oh, okay, we're going to make sure that, especially when it comes to COVID and pandemic information, all that's going out there is right. And what's even more interesting is it was a Fox News clip that they ended up taking down because Fox, the anchors who interviewed Trump, didn't necessarily go out there and try to correct him or ask him a deeper question about it. So it's interesting that we're watching Facebook and Twitter here play the editor and make sure the right information is out when a major media organization could not. So for all the talk we hear from media companies, we're not the arbiters of truth. We're not a media company. They totally are acting like a media company.